You don't know. Listen to
Come on, please. Yeah, Alex could have a vehicle as well, but he decided to burn all of his money. And why did you do that?
I don't need money. Makes people cautious.
Come on, Alex, gotta be a little cautious. I mean, that book of yours is cool and everything, but you can't depend entirely on leaves and berries.
I don't know if you want to depend on much more than that.
Where are your mom and dad?
Living their lives somewhere.
You look like a loved kid. Be fair.
Fair?
You know what I mean.
I'll paraphrase Thoreau here. Rather than love, than money, than faith, than fame, than fairness, give me truth.
Welcome to the Great Australian Lie. So today we're going to be looking at the Nullabor Plain. This area is visible from space, and our friends from NASA and Google, they tell us this, they admit it, they don't try and say it's a trick or editing issues, it is what it is. The Nullabor Plain is a flat, almost treeless, arid or semi-arid country of South and Western Australia. Located on the Australian Bight, it is the world's largest single exposure of limestone bedrock and occupies an area of about 200,000 square kilometres, which is just massive. You know, this is like some European countries, some US states, just to give you some comparisons around the world. So I've drawn the borders in, as you can see, but you don't need to. There you go, look at that. It's obvious from space. Much lighter and much smoother. Here's a look at some of the key points that make up the Great Australian Bight, which is the coastline. It's a very rugged coastline, known for big swells and very difficult for traversing in sailing boats. Here's a photo just showing how arid and treeless it really is. So it really is just a desolate plain. A closer look at the cliffs. Very interesting, just massive, and a lot of different geological layers there, many years. You know, how this was formed, what time period. That's possibly another whole video and discussion. So most of the inhabited areas of the plain can be found in a series of small settlements along the rail. So there really is not much development here, or history of being development here. Here's a look at the borders I was talking about, so it's obvious. You can see on the outside it looks more like a dune, rugged, darker sand, where on the inside it's lighter and it's smoother too. So, and this is something you can see from space, as you saw in those previous images. This is what I found. This is what really caught my attention. It's these grids. This is the evidence of something being here, and you can see it. It covers the whole area on an XY axis, north to south, east to west. A road map, lines. You know, what was this? A city, a civilization, a network of, you know, plumbing, gas pipes. Something very significant was occupying this space. So let's have a little closer look. So basically in the center of all the cross sections you have these intersections. So you have what looks like a foundation of some kind, and then sort of like a water well or drum, cylindrical drum, and then it looks like there's lines basically from the center outwards in every direction, almost like a bomb has gone off. And maybe this was, you know, maybe they were getting rid of the remnants of this civilization or this city that was there. Very interesting. But again, no recordings of this or what these buildings or structures were. It was obviously occupied by indigenous peoples, but again, there's no history of them ever having anything of this nature on this scale. European sightings were first in the 1600s. Again, it wasn't until the mid-1800s the first successful European crossing happened. So there was some nuclear testing done in the 1950s by the British government. There were 7 bombs in Maralinga, 800 kilometres northwest of Adelaide, plus 2 in Emu Plains and a few more off the coast. So I wanted to show you guys this. If you look at these sites, they're not geographically, they haven't caused the Nullabor Plain. You know, if someone's going to say these bombs created this arid landscape, it's not true. You can see it's just on the outskirts. And it's a very shame, but they actually let the Aboriginal tribes come back into these areas after the testing, just to show what pigs these people really are. But anyway, let's have a look now at another interesting fact of this area. It's the airports. Why are there so many, and why are they so complex? You know, these are multi-runway airports in an area that's never had a city. It's only ever had small settlements, so as you see this counter build up, you'll see the point I'm making here. It's just not really believable. And most of the repurposed ones have actually just been the single runway ones. The crisscross airports, you can see for the most part, are sort of grown over or not used. So aviation experts on forums from my readings tell me that this is to do with crosswinds. That's why they've created these crisscrossed airports, but modern aircraft aren't really affected. So really, this sounds like a bit of an excuse for something that was maybe already here or created by a much more advanced previous civilization. So we'll just take a look through, we'll let this build up. So basically it's a desert climate, there's scorching summer temperatures here, reaching nearly 50 degrees, and winter nights can drop below 0, so extreme fluctuations in temperatures. It's a crazy place. There is some native wildlife that exists, you know, spiders, beetles. There's also some mammals, wombats, kangaroos and dingoes, things of this nature. They've since created sort of a protection zone, I guess. I think nearly 30% of this total area is now protected for wildlife, flora and fauna. So they're trying to do something now, but I don't really know what they're protecting. It's sort of a bit too late, you know, for any of that to happen. Look at all these runways. Just not making sense as these compile. And go have a look for yourself too. I was quick, I skimmed through and I took screenshots, but I'm sure you could spend hours more and find a whole lot more foundations and structures and interesting things. Look here at the proximity of these airports too. Why would you need an airport 5 kilometers down the road for a small settlement? It just doesn't make any sense. So there's also a bit of mysterious stuff with this area. There was some UFO sightings. I haven't actually read these, but I think apparently a car actually got taken up into the air by a disc or a saucer, and I think there was also multiple reports that sort of lined up at the same time. So I think these were authentic sort of sightings. But again, you know, this is something you'd have to look into a bit more for yourself. Here's some more interesting scarring and features. Again, there's no reason for these foundations. There's no history of buildings being here. What looks to be some pyramids there. It's very fascinating. Sort of connecting with some geometrical lines. So yeah, that's it guys. Just wanted to show you all those photos, the grid, what it was. You know, I'm open for theories here. Jump in, let me know what you think, but I haven't seen anyone else make a video on this or highlight the Nullabor Plain and all this crazy shit. So let me know what you guys think. Peace.
In case I don't see ya. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Yeah.